Hi there.
Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. It's so good to see you and so exciting. I realize it's been a little over a year since I met you,
Right.
which is amazing. And I guess I just wanted to tell you that you are on a Heroes podcast. Here we interview heroes about what they're heroic to us for, and you are a superhero, not like a superhero, but a superhero, because of just who you are and also what you've taught me. And I guess, can you tell everybody who you are real quick?
Sure. My name's Lynn, and I'm the regional director of the David Lynch Foundation in Los Angeles. And we teach transcendental meditation to vulnerable and underserved communities in Los Angeles. And that includes veterans with post-traumatic stress, inner city families and kids, people in recovery. We work with women who've suffered the effects of domestic violence, frontline health providers, and first responders. So it's really wonderful, wonderful work.
Yeah, it's in frontline workers, including my old roommate and best friend who works in an ER and was on this podcast, and TM definitely changed his life. He's been like, he hasn't missed a day since he started. I can't say the same, but yeah, it's really incredible. I guess I don't know how much anybody knows about it, but what I do know is that when I found my hero, one of my heroes did it, and I just was at a point where I needed something or anything. I was in a sort of like trauma state at all times. It was, all my reactions were based from the opposite of what you want. It's a reactionary state from fear, which like seems categorically to be the opposite of how you want to react. And I had no idea really what meditation was, but I just knew I needed a break in my day from myself, and that's exactly what it was. And I guess I guess, would you talk about how you found it out about it and how you started and all of that stuff?
I just want to share with everyone that one of my most delightful experiences teaching TM was teaching Bonnie.
What?
Oh yeah, because you were so grateful right from the start. You felt such relief really fast, and you were so grateful, and you're such a delightful human being. And so it was really a wonderful experience teaching you.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've taught way over 3,000 people, so you're one of the star students.
Oh my God,
I
had no idea. Well, thank you so much. I had no idea. Thank you. That feels really good, because I think before, sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if it's a Western thing or I'm just from the US, but we were never taught how to take care of ourselves, or that anything within us could help us. So it's always about searching outside of you. And so you were the first person to kind of teach me this concept that, I mean, you're always with yourself, so you should be safe in yourself. And I had no idea. So yeah, can you talk about how you found out about it and all that stuff?
So I was 19 years old when I heard about it, and I had been an overachiever perfectionist.
Oh,
and yeah, and so I
That's
understand
hard.
that state you were describing, becoming so stressed out that the brain goes into fight or flight. And
Yes.
then we're just off to the races, reactionary rather than responding. So I kind of got in that state because nobody can be perfect, right? And I was trying my hardest to achieve everything. And my sister was in Berkeley, California. Now I was in the Midwest, St. Louis.
Oh, cool.
Nobody was meditating. I did not know one person back then that was meditating. So my sister heard about kind of the state I was in, and she said, oh, why don't you try transcendental meditation? And I just thought she was Miss Hippy Dippy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. But interestingly enough, she was my big sister. So, okay, I'll try it. And her best friend had just become a TM teacher
Oh, cool.
with Maharishi. And
Wow.
so her best friend came through St. Louis. And, sometimes when things are meant to be, they just get organized. And so she came through St. Louis and taught me and my family TM.
Oh, wow.
And within 3 months, my whole life, I got my life back. That's how I would say it. Yeah, I got my life back. I got my voice. I always thought I was this shy, kind of shut down person. And I realized I wasn't.
Wow.
And I really felt confident and got my voice. And so within a year, I became a TM teacher to share with other people.
That's so cool. So I guess that's something that I did want to talk to you about is just this idea of something of passing along this kind of gift. Like, I know it exists in all sorts of different ways, but do you feel like that was, I guess, like that was your destiny to teach it, or did you find that within yourself and then be like, I have to share this, or how do you feel about that?
Okay, interesting. You asked, I've even been pondering this recently. Absolutely my destiny.
Cool.
Because from the time I was a little girl, I wanted to help people. And I was also seeking. I was seeking that place you talked about inside that nobody knows how to find.
Yeah.
And I was a real seeker, and so it fit perfectly.
Right.
So it was a way to really help people and answer some of those philosophical questions, because the answers are inside of us a lot of times.
Yeah, no, I totally believe that they are. I think it's one of the worst parts of being a human experience is the idea that it's not within you. And I think just the disconnection from yourself. I don't know. I guess I wanted to ask you, like, because it's interesting. It's the easiest thing in the world. It seemingly is to sit with yourself, but it also is the hardest thing. And I guess, do you have any idea why that is, like, so hard for people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, so the answers are within, as well as happiness, joy, creativity, intelligence, intuition, all the good stuff. It's inside, but we don't know how to go deep inside. And so if we just sit there with our eyes open or closed and we aren't transcending or going deep within, then we get caught in the gotta mind. It's like this little trap, and you get in your mind and it just keeps whirling around, and you get uncomfortable and you get anxious. But when you have a technique that'll allow you to transcend that busy, active part of the mind and go to that quiet place, then you can sit there. Then it's easy to sit there.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Totally. I find it to be something that when I don't do it, it makes me more of the like wacky mind. And then that makes you think that it's not what you need to do is to meditate, but it truly, like, is, to me, the answer to everything. And I think on the last meetup that we had with all of the people, which was so exciting to just see other people, because I did this during quarantine, so I hadn't really seen anyone else that does it. And I guess somebody was, always the question is, well, how do you find the time? And I think you or the other teacher was just like, well, how don't you find the time? Because it's the only thing that gives you, like, peace within the rest of the day. And I think that was a major realization for me, was that I thought that meditation was something that was like, it was when you were meditating that was the important time, or that's what it was, but it's what it does to the rest of your day. And it's so weird how, and I was just watching something about time, which I think is so interesting, but it changes how you relate to time. So before I did it, like I'm a kind of person that can't sit anywhere for 20 minutes. I mean, for 15 minutes, honestly. And I smoke cigarettes. So I never had tried to complete any thought or anything in my day since I was a kid. I would just be like, oh, I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to go smoke. And it was never just to sit and be with it. So when there was this like way to know how to sit, it actually gave me what I needed to not have to get away from myself, because you can't get away from yourself. And the farther you get away from yourself, the farther you have to get back. And it's just like truly amazing. And I guess I also want to say, it's not like this thing where you sit there, and at least for me, I'm sure it's different for everyone, but for me, it's never always that I sit there and it's super easy and I'm like, oh wow, this is bliss. It's sometimes is super hard, but I like what you said. And also something I want to talk about is you and the other teachers seem to have a little bit different ways of doing it, which I think is interesting. But you said really just like the clock, it's 20 minutes. Like you just, whatever happens in that time is your time of meditation. And he was saying more stuff like, oh, I like to check the clock. And it's like, for me, I have to just set it and then like pretend that it doesn't exist. If I even think about checking it like that, I'll just think about that the whole time. And yeah, it seemed like he was a little bit more loose with like it having to be 20 minutes. He was like, if you go a little longer, I don't know. What do you think about like having different styles?
So there's really one style, but kind of different ways of expressing it.
Okay.
The one thing we say is decide on how long you're going to meditate and then go by the clock, not how you're feeling. Meaning, yeah, so if you decide, okay, I'm going to do 15 minutes, you're going to do 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole process.
Yeah.
So TM's a process. So I'm so happy you brought up this point. It isn't that you're deep inside the whole time. It's more like diving. And so you go in, you dive in, and then you come back up to the surface, so to speak, and you have lots of thoughts. And then you go, oh yeah, I'm meditating. And then you pick up the mantra again and take another dive. And so that's the beauty of TM. It's so natural, so free flowing. The only way you can do it wrong would be to try or to focus. And the trick is just to allow.
Yeah.
So think the mantra, take it as it comes. Think the mantra, take it as it comes. And sometimes there's some release of some stress. And so some strong thoughts can come up, some emotion, but that's releasing. It's literally unwinding from your system. So that's why I like to refer to TM as a process. And we just complete the process, come out, enjoy your day, because you always feel better after you meditate.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I would totally agree. There's never a time where it's like, darn it, why'd I waste that time doing that? And I guess another thing that I just wanted to say that I really liked how you said is that someone asked like, well, do I have to do it twice a day? And you're like, if you were given prescription medicine and it said, take it twice a day, you wouldn't just take it once. And I think that just really sticks with me when I'm having like a hard time with whatever. But yeah, I guess.
Well, just be creative. Be creative in how you can weave it into your life.
Yeah.
So don't make it a chore. Make it like the first one's so easy. You can literally just sit up in bed and meditate.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah.
And then the second one, you just find some time. And it could be any time where you're sitting comfortably with the eyes closed.
Yeah.
And then you just do it again.
Yeah. And so your experience, I guess, it's so amazing. And I don't like, you teach people every day.
Yes.
That is so wild. And so you sit with people all day.
Well, yeah, it's what I love. It isn't a
Yeah,
job. I
right.
love it. I mean, this week so far, I've taught 7 people.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, so 5 of them are mental health providers
Wow.
for the school district.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know if you've heard, but the second pandemic is the mental health pandemic.
Totally.
And so kids are really struggling, kids and families. So these ladies are on the front line,
Yeah.
helping people, and to give them this tool yesterday where they felt immediate relief, they felt like they were taking care of themselves. It's very, very fulfilling. And then today I taught an actress, and she loved it. She was so surprised by the mantra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people are always surprised by the mantra. She loved it. And then I taught another young lady with extreme anxiety. And after her first meditation, her head was just back and she was relaxing. So
Wow.
it's so fulfilling.
Yeah,
It's so fulfilling.
It's so amazing. Especially, I went to go to the to you guys before the pandemic, and our job is, we were gone every other month, so it wasn't really, I knew in my heart I couldn't commit, but I wanted the results. I think that's common, is I wanted the results, but I didn't really want to do the work. And at first, like, the cost, I was like, oh, I don't know how would I use that money for that when I could use it, like I could have a nice dinner sometime, whatever. And I realized, though, that really the way that you spend money, it's all a cycle, is like spending money on this will kind of makes you money later. Like the decisions that, I know it sounds whatever corny or something, but it's like being able to have time in the day, like to not be in a frenzy. There's no price you could really put on that. Like,
Right.
and I think a lot of people right now, because of this other pandemic, I think most people hadn't maybe experienced trauma, or not most people, but let's just say half of the people hadn't had trauma. And I think now everyone has faced it.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are trying to find something just because they don't know what's inside them. So there's all of these things popping off, like all these different kinds of therapies and stuff, which I'm all for people getting therapy in any way. But I just think that just for anyone that's listening and considering it, it's like the amount of money that it is the amount of money you spend avoiding it, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's just, it's like whatever. I can't drink anymore. I don't know what happened, but something happened where I just physically am like allergic to it. This happened when I was sick. I came to you, and I just, like, all of these weird changes happened, and I don't know if it was all just anxiety or whatever it was, but I used to drink for my job. I'd like to get drunk and make it not super drunk, but drunk enough to deal. And I didn't drink when we weren't working, but now, once I couldn't drink, I was like, I need something else, because I don't want to rely on poison. And no offense to anyone that does drink, if it works, that's cool. I wish I could, but it's like, for me to have to rely on something that doesn't make me feel good later in the day doesn't work for my job, where you're just in a van all day, traveling all day, and you don't have time to put something in your body that dehydrates you, that changes everything, that is, so it's just not great. So the idea of something that can replace that's actually healthy, I think is amazing. And I don't think people, I think anything that has like a price or something, people don't realize you're paying that already. It's just not the way you think you are. And even with like cigarettes or something, is I don't smoke because I don't need that exit from myself anymore, because I have a safe space, and that space exists all day, whether or not I'm there. And in that space, I also want to say, ask you maybe if this is your experience, but when I'm meditating, or when I'm doing it, it's just like the thoughts come and I'm like, oh my God, I don't need to think about that right now. Right now, I don't need to think about that. This is like for me right now. And I have to think about it later, maybe, but it doesn't matter right now. And it's just not there. And like the cumulative effects of choosing when you think of stuff, it doesn't mean the rest of the day I'm not like, oh, how am I going to say this to this person? I am still super stressed, but it makes me stronger to have time when I don't have to be. And yeah, I guess, and I guess for me, just to speak about it, as like, I have a lot of like PTSD, which I wasn't aware of. Really, like I didn't realize that was what was happening. I just was like, very scared of people and all these things. And yeah, just doing all these things to avoid that feeling. But it's all just medicine if you don't change like the thing within, which is just incredible. And yeah, that's what it was for me, is just like the antidote or something,
You're so conscious. Beautiful. You're such a conscious, bright being speaking truth.
So thank
And
you.
I just, if I could clarify one point. So
Please.
during the meditation, as you know, if you get off on thoughts, it's totally fine. But the beautiful thing is you do have a mantra
Yeah.
too. And that gives your mind an opportunity, like you're saying, oh,
Yeah.
let's go back to my mantra. But
You
use, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, but you use the best adjective. You gently, or so what's the adjective you use to prefer the mantra?
Innocently,
What's that?
innocently go back to the mantra.
I love
And
that.
I always tell people, the easiest people to teach TM to are like 10 to 12-year-olds, because they aren't trying to have some meditative experience. They just know how to let their mind wander and then come back to the mantra. And they have such a beautiful, innocent experience. So
Yeah.
I tell people, just come with that innocence.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple, natural practice.
Yeah. That's so cool. And it's, yeah, I think it's I think having a practice or anything is obviously just so important. For every reason, obviously, but it's like, I like that, yeah, innocently do that. But I guess, can you talk a little bit about the actual, I know you talked a little bit about it, but a little bit about the David Lynch Foundation and like what he does and stuff, because I think that obviously is exciting.
So the way we were introduced, I think, was through David, or a friend of David.
Yeah.
Lynch's, right?
I mean, I don't know him, but I'm, a huge
Somehow
fan. Yeah.
we got connected through that. David Lynch is a famous director, an artist, and a creative extraordinaire. I mean, he's in music. He's just a super creative genius. And David Lynch started meditating at AFI, American Film Institute, gosh, maybe about 48, 49 years ago.
Wow.
And David has never missed a meditation.
What?
He's practiced TM twice a day, every single day. He's never missed a meditation.
Oh my God.
And he's a really wonderful human being. But what's so nice about David is, when you meet him, he's so comfortable in his own skin. And I think that's one thing TM gives you, is that comfort within. And so anyway, about 17 years ago, David and Bob Roth, our CEO, decided to start a foundation, and it's called the David Lynch Foundation for Consciousness-Based Education and World Peace. And so the technique itself, TM, is consciousness-based. It's allowing one to develop their full consciousness. So we all have consciousness, but to different degrees.
Okay.
And what we want is to become fully conscious. Because when we're fully conscious, there aren't boundaries anymore. We can fulfill our dreams. We can be good, conscious world citizens. And we can be coming from love and creativity and intelligence instead of fear and reactivity. So that consciousness is very important. And now David's actually focused on helping to create world peace by creating these large groups of 10,000 people meditating together around the world. And so they're like peace generators. So you know how you can have like a nuclear generator?
Right.
Instead of that, we're gonna 10,000 people meditating together creates this amazing, peaceful energy for that area. And David's working on this. And it takes a very conscious, visionary thinker to look outside the box.
Yeah.
And let's look for a solution. And the solution to war is not more war. It's
right.
peace. It's creating peaceful individuals. And leaders. We need peaceful leaders. And so it's so wonderful to work in a foundation with a visionary leader who sees the big picture. So, you know, when David started the foundation, he just wanted to make sure any student anywhere in the world who wanted to learn TM would have access to it. So we're really focused on that. I'm a former high school teacher.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, I love working with kids and giving them this tool.
Yeah, it's amazing. So about consciousness, I guess, can you describe what that is for anyone that doesn't know?
Consciousness is where everything comes from.
Okay.
So in terms of physics, the deepest area there is called the unified field. And that's where everything manifests from. But in terms of life, consciousness, there's an unbounded field of consciousness that's infinite potential.
Cool.
And that's what, I mean, you are a creative person, right? You're a musician. That's where you tap into to get that inspiration, to get those new ideas. It comes from consciousness. And everyone has consciousness, everything has consciousness. And as human beings, we have the opportunity to wake up unbounded consciousness in our awareness.
That's so cool. Is there like one consciousness that we all tap into, or are we just beacons of separate consciousness?
It's all in how you look at it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So in terms of physics, they are basically saying there is one unbounded field of consciousness, the unified field where everything manifests from. But that's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because on that level, we're all connected. Everything's connected. But in our regular life, we know, you know what? We know we're all connected because we can feel it.
Yeah.
When you walk in a room, nobody tells you how people are feeling. You can tell if there's been a fight. You can tell if there's this really sweet energy. We are all connected in that profound way. We all feel that. And, you know, waking up more and more consciousness allows you to be even more tuned in.
Yeah.
It's good to be tuned in.
Yeah. Well, I would say to that in a way also is on this journey I've had over the last couple of years, I feel like I found out I was sensitive. I didn't know. I thought I was super tough, but it turns out I'm super sensitive. And so I think another reason why TM is good is because once you start to find yourself super in tune with how other people are feeling, it can be very overwhelming. That's so having a safe place to go within that and be your own like strong ship in this sea of feelings and energies that maybe weren't completely, because I feel like people, I think trauma, something about it, and why a lot of like psychic or medium people have experienced it, is when you have trauma, you become an expert of what's going on around you. You just
Yes.
are a detective for any sign of any different little thing that's happening. And I think you work on that so much that you can become psychic and other things. And some people are just born that way, but for me, I feel like I had been working on it and I didn't realize. I was like, oh my God, why am I feeling all of these ways? But it was like, it's not you, it's just it's other people. And that felt very overwhelming at first. But I understand what you're saying. If everyone had worked into their conscious selves, it wouldn't be like a scary feeling, because people wouldn't be buzzing around all like upset and reactive and
Right.
but I do think at first it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, you need to understand it. You need to, but it is one of our capabilities.
Yeah.
So as human beings, we're hardly beginning to use our full potential.
Yeah.
And so if you're a victim of trauma or a traumatic event, you don't want that to happen again. So what happens is you start honing that skill. And that
Right.
skill is to feel where there might be danger and who's safe and who isn't. That's fine. That's normal. And then what TM gives you is shock absorbers. That's what it gives you, a cushion. It gives you that, or like you might say, an anchor for that ship, so that it isn't caught in those big tidal waves of life. So it anchors you, but it also gives you shock absorbers, so that you can be you don't want to shut that down. So you have honed an amazing skill, that sensitivity. Don't shut it down, because it's going to pay off. It's going to give you great gifts. But TM gives you the cushion so that you can handle it.
Yeah, makes so much sense to me, because we went on a tour in December, and like a big dum-dum, like I was just like, I'm not, I just stopped doing everything that was serving me for some reason. I just went into complete panic and dropped all of my things that were helping me, honestly, but I just didn't have any practice of any kind, and completely shut down. And it was horrible. It didn't work at all, because when you go out into a scary new situation, you want to have buffers, or what's the word you said? The
shock absorbers.
Shock absorbers, because I did not have that. And it was like it was literally being in shock therapy is how I have described it. It just like was stunning and overwhelming the whole time. And when I came back, it was good in the sense that I had burnt out all my fear receptors for a while. I had no fear left. It was all, but I was in a state of shock. And it was really hard to get back. And I think, it's just, I haven't been that great about doing it, and it has had bad effects. Like I've felt very like, I always think about this, but that sometimes you feel like life is a river that you're in, and that's bad for me. It's just being on a raft in a river, and sometimes like you're the river or whatever. You're just, and it's like I've just been in this raft, like hitting trees for a little while, and I'm so excited that get to talk to you and remember why I like did this in the first place, and how much it helped me, because I guess, I don't know, I'm sure it's probably normal for people to slip up every now and again, but
absolutely normal, completely normal, no big deal. You just get back on the horse, so to speak. You just get back to it and take it easy. What's beautiful about TM is you can always connect with your TM teacher
Yeah.
and get the meditation refreshed. It doesn't cost anything, and we're here to support you.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to bring out, because you brought up that river analogy,
Yeah.
and often people just feel they're a victim of circumstances, like they have no will. And I just want to say, as we're meditating, we get so strong within ourselves and present. Did you notice that? You started being more present. Because here's the thing, we are creating our future with every decision we make. We create our future.
Yeah.
And if we can make decisions from a calm, cool, collected, present place, we're going to make really good choices and go in the direction we want to go. If we're making decisions from fear and reactivity, it keeps us in the same old loop. You know how people will say, oh, I just have to keep doing this same lesson over and over. You don't have to. When you meditate, you can get rid of that old lesson, be present, and move forward. And so the choice we have is to sit down, close our eyes a couple times a day and meditate, and then feel good.
Yeah. And I guess I think that, thank you for saying that, because I think that that's what I needed to hear personally, you know. But I guess, yeah, just, I know we already asked you, but like, why is it so hard to be present? Like, why is it so hard to be present?
Oh, to be present? Because it isn't something we can do intellectually. So what happens is we have stress stored in our body. So we have past events. And what I'm referring to is trauma and toxic stress. And so when we have an overwhelming experience, it causes a stress response in the body. And that gets stored in the body. So then we're cruising along and we get triggered, right? And when we get triggered, we're no longer in the present. When we get triggered, we're back to when that incident happened.
Oh, wow.
And then you're making decisions from that.
Right.
From that fear, from that trigger. What TM is doing, it's literally allowing the body to dissolve that trauma and stress that's stored in the body. And once that's unpacked, that thing doesn't get triggered anymore. So you still remember the event, but you don't get triggered.
That's so cool.
And that's called liberation.
Yes, it is. That's the coolest thing in the world. Thank you so much for explaining that, because that's been a big topic for me, is something that I've just been struggling with the last few weeks, is just sometimes is just when I'm not like excited about the future. Or I guess what I could say honestly is we just wrote a record and we finished recording it, and I'll tell you,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Huge.
Yeah. Thing. Yeah, I'll send it to you. But
I love that.
Yeah, but so basically the concept of it is that like we channeled it from our future selves to help us now, and but also that our future selves will get to hear it, so that'll be exciting for them if we leave enough little things in it for that we'll know, no matter who we are, that we had made that in our past lives. So I just had, like, starting on January 1st, I just opened up. Like, I just opened any feeling, anything, everything just come my way. I'm a writer. And then once we had finished recording, I didn't close that, and I wasn't practicing anything good. So it's just like, I was just this open thing flopping in the wind, just still grabbing every emotion, but I wasn't putting it down anywhere. And which was good, because I got to such like a low place that I realized I can be a writer all the time. It's not just when we are making the record, but that I didn't realize that before for some reason. But yeah, so I guess hearing that is really cool to know that there's that I'm actually doing something to help leave things in the past, stay strong in the present, and that I'm helping the future me, even just by being here. So thank you.
100. So when the next time you go, oh, should I meditate? I want you to remember it's making a choice for the future you want to create.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Thank you so much. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I'm excited. We're playing the show with our new costumes, your shirts. We're gonna, our new uniform. I think that's in the middle of May. So I'm excited to send you those photos. But is there,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, thank you. We're so excited. We love them. But is there anything you want to tell everybody before
I'm just
we go?
going to tell everybody how lucky they are to know about you and your band, because you really understand the truth. You're a deep, beautiful person with so much truth, and anybody is lucky to get to hear you. Wow. And do keep writing.
Thank you. That's I honestly, thank you so much. I think you're like just the coolest. I thought when I met you, I was like, is she like a ballerina or a dancer? You just have such a like big, like, I don't know how to even describe it, but just the way when you see a ballerina and they're just beautiful, big, like forward moving energy person, and I can't believe you like me, honestly. So thank you so much.
You're wonderful. It's funny, I was a dancer.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could just sense that, but yeah, it's like the grace of the upper half of your body. Most people don't have that. And it's just the way you walk is so cool. I was like, wow. And we were all masked up and like pretty, not our regular selves. So you shine through super hard.
Oh, thank you. So did you.
Thank you so much. Well, I guess that is it. Thank you for coming here, and I will see you soon.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, bye.
Bye.